Hi, this is Margo. This is Sunday afternoon, January 24th, 2021. I'd like to welcome everyone to the show today. I hope everyone is safe and doing well, and we survived another week. This will be my weekly update that I will be putting on YouTube, and today we're going to go over methane data, sea ice, Arctic and Antarctic, and Climate Reanalyzer and earthquakes. So, CAMS, I don't know what's going on with CAMS. Their latest data is from Thursday, the 21st, and I've already presented this to my Subscribe Star members, but that's okay. I will present the 21st to you guys. This is the latest data. All they've got up right now is the 20th and 21st. So what they've been doing is releasing days at a time. Then they'll stay up to date for a couple of days and then they get behind again. This has been going on all month now. I don't know what the problem is, but let's start out with our Noaa methane data. This is what I've been tracking, the 477/469 millibar reading. This is for yesterday, Saturday the 23rd. This is the Met-OP1 satellite in the morning. Now we can see about half the data is missing. So I don't think this is going to be an accurate reading, and you'll see there are two. Both Met-OP1 images have a lot of missing data. We will count it, but I put a note in the spreadsheet that it was questionable data. Anyway, here it is for the morning, and the mean or average was 1,881 parts per billion. The high reading was 2538. And we can see in the afternoon now we've got missing data in areas opposite of where it was before. See, now it's missing over the US and over China and Russia and India. This is the afternoon reading of 1886 for the mean, high reading of 2445. Here's the Met-OP2 satellite in the morning. The mean was 1868 and the high reading was 2430. In the afternoon, the mean was 1870 and the high reading was 2360. So here's the spreadsheet and the chart, and here's the data for the 23rd. Here are the numbers added up, the means added up and divided by 4. We come up with an average of 1876.25 parts per billion, which shows a decrease over the week before of 4 parts per billion. So here it is on the chart. So here we were last Saturday. We had just come above 1880, that line. Now we've dropped back down. So even with the missing data, it's still quite high, and I do think we've bottomed out for this winter season, and that happened on January the 12th, and the lowest was 1873.5 parts per billion, which was right here. We're still quite a ways above that. And I imagine that tomorrow when we look at Noaa data, it'll be going back up. Now, where we are right now, from March the 1st of 2019 to yesterday, we have an increase, a total increase of 19 parts per billion. And that was when I started tracking all of this. And from this time last year, we're 8.75 parts per billion higher than we were on January the 25th. And it had started coming back up in January. So, and then it had gone back down, and then it started rising rapidly in February. That's when I started tracking it daily. Now, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with this spreadsheet. I don't want to keep all of the years on one. I might do that. I just don't know yet. I had one suggestion that I do it, have different colors for the years, and I can't really do that. The way the chart, it makes the chart, this line comes out as one color for whatever my data is over here in these two columns. So that won't really work. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but thanks for the suggestion. Now let's go back and see what happened this week on Noaa. So here we were on my report last week. Oh, I forgot to shade this in so we can see this is the weekly total here. So here we were last week on my Sunday report, the 16th. It was 1880.75 parts per billion. And then on Sunday, so that had gone up from the week before of 3.75. And then on Sunday, it went down 1.25. Monday, it went down 1.5. On Tuesday, it went up 0.75. On Wednesday, it went down 2 parts per billion. On Thursday, it went up 1.5. Friday, it went up 1.25. And then Saturday, we can see with the questionable data for both readings on Met.1, with a lot of it missing, it went down 2.75. So if we didn't have that missing data, I doubt that it would have gone down at all. I seriously doubt it. And in fact, if you look at the Met.2 satellite from Friday and Saturday, it was almost exactly the same. In fact, it was exactly the same. So on the Met.2 it stayed the same. So I think if we had had all of the data on the Met.1 satellite, it would have been about the same. So that's where we are on that. Now let's move on to, let's go ahead and show our CAMS methane data. Now I'm going to refresh just to make sure that they haven't put anything else up. No, that's it. So I have Thursday the 21st chosen. I have the Arctic view and surface level pulled up. So the data is for Thursday. The forecast period runs Friday through Monday. So we're seeing this area. Why is that not going? we're seeing this area by the Combe-Solomons Island just continually spewing up and moving out, and it's getting worse. It's not getting any better. And there was an article that I shared a couple of days ago with my Subscribestar members. It was a Russian article about the nuclear submarines and reactors and waste that's been dumped in the Barents Sea and the Kara Sea, and how they're gonna try and clean it up, and because these hulls can rust out, and then the plutonium and all the nuclear stuff can contaminate everything. And it's exactly what I've been saying, and I think that this area here by the Combe-Solomons Island, it could be from some kind of nuclear waste that was dumped here during the Cold War or sometime, or it might be a nuclear submarine that got damaged and sunk, and it's sitting there and somehow leaked out, or if it's reactor rods, then those are hot, and those can eat through all of the permafrost on the seafloor, and eat through all the sediment and heat everything up, and heat up the frozen methane hydrates down there and be releasing methane, in which case I don't think there's any way to fix it. So we're also seeing high readings on the north coast of Alaska again by Koktovik. We've got these high background readings coming up, and we see the yellow waves coming up through this Norwegian area, through Russia, and out into the Barents Sea. Oh, and in the article they said they were trying to clean it up because this is part of that North Passage trade route that they're using, that they're going to be using with the as the sea ice goes away. They're going to be shipping. This is a whole trade route they've got mapped out. There are 3 routes that have been mapped out, and as the ice melts away more and more and more, they have no plans of having the ice come back in the Arctic. They have big plans for as soon as it's melting. They've got ships running through here. They've even got ships running through the Arctic now, even through the sea ice. And it's the way it is. They have no plans of the Arctic coming back, and they don't want it to, because they want to run their ships through for trade routes and for military and for the war machine, and they want to be drilling for oil and the whole thing, and methane hydrates, liquid natural gas, which is methane, and they want to be getting all that up and selling it and using it. They want to rape Mother Earth of every last little vestige of any natural resource that it has. They want to do that, and here we are at the end, and with all the issues going on and the economic collapse and social uprising everywhere, and you know, that's the bottom line. They don't care about anything except their plans, what they want. It's greed and just, killing the planet, getting whatever they can out of it before it dies. And they're going to go out into space and so that they can exploit other planets. And I think it's a crime that these guys are even allowed to go into outer space and to other planets with the way they've treated this planet. They've messed up this planet, so they're going to go mess up any other planet that they can come in contact with. So I just think it's time for God to pull the plug on this. I'm done. I can't. I'm so upset about everything, about seeing everything and the evil, and it's just like I can barely function. I feel beaten down and abused is how I feel. And I can only imagine how Mother Earth feels, and all the animals and the trees, and I'll be glad when I don't have to be here anymore. And I know a lot of you feel the same way. So, but here we are. So here's the North Pole view. We're still seeing India filled up with methane. We're seeing it spew up through this Bengal Bay. Here's the Bengal Bay, and spewing up in the Arabian Sea here. Here's the Persian Gulf. See, it's filling up here in Russia. Here's Europe. Here's the UK. China's filled up. We've got this white spot that's come back by Beijing. If you look near my pointer, see right there? See, there it is. Especially in, forecast period. It only popped up a couple of times. Where it's white, it's where it's higher than the 10,000 parts per billion. And you can see it streaming out over the coastline and the oceans and everything. And look at the US. It's just covered. It's just covered with methane. It's awful. And see these green waves? They're just how they move out. And watch this green wave move down and covers up most of the US. There it comes. So here's the global view. Here's that white spot. It's more visible from this view. It's pretty big. Watch. This is in China. This is near Beijing. Look, it's the Bitcoin mining capital of the world. See, South America's filling back up. there's that. Now we'll look at 500 HPA. So this is about the same level as the Noaa data, 477/469 HPA. So about halfway up in the atmosphere. Here's the highest from India over to China. See? And we've got a lot of reds over the Arctic. We've got reds further south here from coming off of South America and Africa here. And now we'll look at total column. So here it is. See? It's really coming back to life here in China. That's the worst in the world. And then India. They don't have any regulations. Of course, the rest of the world is supposed to have them, but they don't. So, there's that. Now, I wanted to show one more thing. This is sulfur dioxide today. This is from CAMS. This is South America, and we have a new area here from Ecuador, one on land and then in the ocean here. Now the tectonic plate runs right along the edge of the South America, right along the coastline. And we've been seeing high sulfur dioxide from Peru down along Argentina here, or Chile, and we've been seeing that this week, and then this popped up today. So that's a new pocket that was released, and see it's still coming out down here. So I'm thinking this is either from earthquakes or plate movement or combo plate of that. So that's very high release of sulfur dioxide there. That's all of that. So now we'll look at sea ice and snow cover for today and from this last week. This is from Climate Reanalyzer for this week, and here it is today. We can see the still ice-free on this west side of Svalbard. So it's this area in the Fram Strait where it's coming up from the North Atlantic up by Svalbard. Still is not refreezing, and we can see the Kara Sea, that hole closed back up. So that's refrozen. It's thin, but it's refrozen all the way over to Noaa Zemlya. And then in the Barents Sea, we're seeing a little bit of growth come back from Svalbard up around Franz Josef Land. But most of this Barents Sea is ice-free as well. And we saw it's coming back down here in the Pacific between Alaska and Russia here. It's trying to come back here in the Baffin Bay by Greenland, but it's just not doing very well. We can see the Hudson Bay is refrozen now. So we'll go through. Here we were last Sunday when I did my report. Here's what it looked like. We had an open space here in the Kara Sea by the Russia coastline and up to Noaa Zemlya. So here we go. We can see what happened. Here was the 17th, here's the 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. So we can see as far as extent, it just filled in here and came back a little bit here, really. Not much difference on the extent. Next, here's the Navy, U.S. Navy sea ice thickness for the Arctic for today. Now here's our scale over here on the right. The dark purple is about 1 meter thick, and then the dark blue is about 1.25 meters thick. So that's what it's changing to, from the purple to the dark blue. And then when it moves into the aqua, this bright aqua is about 2 meters thick. So we can see it's thickening up along the Russia coastline, around the coastline of these islands. And now here, north of Greenland, here it's thickening up, trying to, in quadrant 3. Here's quadrant 4, which houses what's left of the thickest sea ice. Now it's been thickening back up somewhat out to that line there, the east-west line, but this whole piece has been sliding. It's not anchored in, and it's been sliding down towards Alaska, and now it's this ice is running into the Alaska coastline, and it's moving. The whole piece we're moving out. Also, we have a real thin spot. There's a hole here in the Nares Strait next to Greenland. We can see it's thickening up in these little tributaries in the Canadian archipelago somewhat. Not doing too good down here by mainland Canada. It's not thickening up that well here. There's an area along the Alaska coastline here where it's been pulling away and is ice free. So there's that. Here's the 30-day animation. The data goes back for 3 weeks, and the forecast goes out a week from now to the 31st. We can see the big change has been the thickening from the purple to the blue color in this animation. Now watch this piece move down. See it sliding down, and then it's spreading out and sliding out into towards the Bering Strait. This is totally pulled away from Canada here. See that? I don't know where it's going to be in April when the sun starts coming up. Now Here's the Beaufort Sea view of this sea ice thickness. So here's Canada over here, down along here. Here's Alaska. Here's that thickest sea ice, what's left of it. We can see how it slid down. Remember when this was back up here, this area that was at the end, it was back up here at the beginning of or a couple of months ago, and it's just been sliding down. So here it is today. Look, see the white around Alaska? And very pale lavender, that's basically no sea ice there. And then that aqua is from this thicker ice that slid out and it's been moved out from the ice drift. And you'll see in the animation when it moves down, it starts piling up along this Alaska coastline, and when it piles up it gets red, so showing it's the thicker because it's just piling up there. So in this 30-day animation, you can see it started out way down here by Canada, and now there's a lot of movement right at the very end. So watch that. And you can see the red as it's piling up there. And some of the ice slides out, see, into the Bering Strait. So I don't know what it's going to do. I don't know where this piece is going to be in 2 more months or 3 more months. 2 more months. We're almost at the end of January. Then the sun starts coming up there in April. Okay, so this is the ice drift for today in the Beaufort Sea, and see these arrows coming in a counterclockwise direction. Clockwise, I'm sorry, this is clockwise direction coming around and along the Alaska coast. Look how fast this is, and just zips and pulls it out, and this is why we're seeing so much movement of the ice there. And that's today. It's moving like that today. Here it's the 30-day animation for the ice drift, and we can see in the forecast period it gets really calm, and this is a cycle that it goes through, and then it'll pick up again. So there's the So here it is today. Here's the last week. Here it was last Sunday, and you can see it was moving along here along the Alaska coastline there. Here was last Sunday. Here was Monday, Tuesday. So see all that where it's picking up. Wednesday. See, it's really shoving it along that coastline. It's not moving. There. Here's Thursday. Now it's calming down. The blue is slower. Friday it's picking back up. Saturday it's really fast. Super fast. Here it is today. And see the speed is just zipping out into the Chukchi Sea there. Here it is tomorrow. 25th, 26th, now it's calming down. 27th, 28th, 29th, and then 30th. And one more. And here it's basically, this dark blue is down to 0 speed. So it'll be not moving anywhere for a few days. So there's that. Here's the Antarctic Sea Ice Thickness for today. This is in high melt. Of course, the sun has been up for a while now. Down there, we can see the Ross Sea has melted out. There's a huge open passage there. Here is by the Thwaites Glacier. This has melted. I'm surprised that we still have sea ice that's gone up to the Pine Island Glacier. I had expected that to have melted by now. Here's the Weddell Sea. Now here's this area by this is the Brunt Ice Shelf. Here, see where it's a big open spot, and then we can see how there's not much ice around any of these coastlines. Just the thickest and the most ice is here left in the Weddell Sea, and then the thickest ice is here on the western, off the western side, right here. Here's the 30-day animation. So you can see it's in high melt right now. They don't show this area at the Pine Island Glacier melting. This was all melted out last year up in here. I don't know what's holding that ice back this year though. I don't know, it could be this ice is affecting this other ice from melting. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. So that's all of those. Now we'll move on. Next we'll look at this is the National Snow and Ice Data Center website for Sea Ice Index. Oops. This is the Arctic view for yesterday. I have the blue marble view chosen and concentration chosen. And where you see the blues, that's where it's less concentrated and thinner. So it's not as packed together as well. And it's thinner than where you see it white. So this matches up with what we saw on the Navy website. Here's the chart for Arctic sea ice extent as of yesterday. This blue line is this year. The dotted line is the 2012-2013 winter. and we can see we're still below the 2012, so we're at record low for this time of year. No one's talking about this. So the refreeze is not doing very well. And remember that in 2012, when the extent went so low, the ice was still a lot thicker. What was there was a lot thicker than what we have now. So this is not doing very well at all. Here's the Antarctic. Again, here's the concentration, and you can see all that open area with the Ross Sea there. Here's the chart for the extent. Now this blue line is this year. This dark gray line is last year. And we can see that we're about tied with last year, and last year was the lowest, and so we're tied with last year, because so we can see that's how fast it's melting. So considering the extent had been way up here, more than what we had had in a long time, this year, that's how fast it's melting to be down to tied with where we were last year. So it's melting faster, is what I'm trying to say. Now we'll look at NASA Worldview. This is the Arctic view for this is sea ice concentration. That's what it looks like if we zoom out. This black area is where it's still in the dark, and see this southern edge of Greenland, southern part, that's in sunlight. So now what you're going to see this black, kind of a circular region. This Russia coastline is going to be coming back into sunlight soon. And here's Norway, and here's the Bering Strait over here. So here, what we have by Greenland, this is disturbing here. This is a troublesome area by this western edge of Greenland. This is in the Nares Strait. There's a hole there, and it hasn't refrozen the way it needed to. And so this area is not very thick right now, and so this is one of the areas where the sea ice exits through. It's a big exit point, and so with this not refreezing very much, then come springtime, when everything starts melting, it'll be exiting through here even faster. Oh, and I forgot to show something. I closed it up. Hang on, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I meant to show this from the Navy website. In this 30-day animation, now watch this. You'll flip out. I want you to look right here by Greenland. See, here's this hole that we're seeing, and look at it in the forecast period. It's this whole area, like it's in a triangle formation that just goes white. See that? So something happens there. I don't know what it is, but something heats up that whole area and melts the ice there. You see? So that's not good. Anyway, I wanted to show you that. So there's that. So this is the area. So the area that opens up is right down here. So we'll be watching for that in this coming week. Now, here's the area north of Greenland. This area has not turned completely white. It stayed in kind of a reddish pink tone, which means it's not as concentrated, which means there's space between the pieces of ice and it's not refrozen all the way there. Here's Svalbard. It's in the dark. This western side is still completely ice-free. Here's Franz Josef Land. Now we can see there are areas around these little islands that it's not completely frozen. Now here's Severnaya Zemlya. This is the Komsolomonets Island. Right around here is where we're seeing the huge plumes of methane coming up on cams. Now I see it's kind of in the red zone up here. Now here's Noaa Zemlya right here, and see it's come back in the Kara Sea. Here's the Yamal Peninsula. This is the Gulf of Ob. They run icebreakers through here all during the winter, so for all of their transport of their liquid natural gas and different stuff, and nothing stops in the winter time up here. They keep going. They do stuff all winter long. And so here's the Kara Sea. It's refrozen. Here's the Barents Sea. So we can see a little fringe of ice coming back on this western side of Noaa Zemlya. Here's the Russia coastline, and here's where it's come back around the Russia coastline, and we can see that it's coming back into sunlight. This is the Kola Peninsula. This is Russia, and part of it is in the sunlight now. So we're going to be seeing some of these coastal areas come back into sunlight pretty quick. So as far as a refreeze around these coastlines, don't expect a whole lot more, is what I'm trying to say. Then over here on here's Canada. See the hole there? That's where it's coming away. Here along the Alaska coastline, there's a hole here. This is Barrow here, and there's a hole right there. And this is where that thick sea ice is being pushed down along this Alaska coastline, is sliding out, and some of it's sliding along into the Bering Strait, or the Chukchi Sea. The Chukchi Sea, and then there's the Bering Strait. This is another exit point for the ice. Now, so here's the Bering Strait, and then the Bering Sea, and then the Pacific Ocean down here. And here's where it's refrozen around. Here's Alaska, and here's Russia here. Russia. But it's not very thick. We saw on the Navy site, this is just like lavender, half a meter, maybe to a meter thick. It's not very thick. We want completely white for concentration, but you don't see it. You don't see much really white area. And where you do, it's where it's just refrozen. It's the new refreeze. So it's not very thick either. It's just surface level. So there's that. So let's go back. Let's see what it's done this week. So let's go back to the 17th. Oh, you know what? That was the 23rd. I didn't even have today up. Sorry about that. Went through that whole explanation that was yesterday. So here we are today. So we're seeing some melting around Franz Josef Land there. And some more melting here at Alaska. So let's run through this last week and see what's happened. Let me get this. We'll zoom out this first time. So here we were last Sunday. There's the 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st. So here's where the regrowth is coming back. 22nd, 23rd, and today, 24th. Let me refresh, see if anything else comes in. No, that's it. See, it's melting here by Franz Josef Land. So let's look at it from this vantage point now. Let's go back to the 17th. Here we go. So that's where we are. That's what we've got there. Now let's pop down to the Antarctic. Here we are today. I want to show you where our iceberg is. A68. Been tracking this. There it is. It's what's left of it. That's the biggest piece, what's left of it. Look at this. See those clouds? There were clouds like that over Reno today. Anyway, there it is underneath the cloud. The finger that broke off has managed to maneuver up here now. And when you zoom in, you see all these pieces of ice that have broken off from it. South Georgia Island is right here under that cloud. And look, here's South Sandwich Islands, and look at these like radio signals coming up from each island. I think that's what this is. It's not radio signals, it's something else but it's some kind of beaming that's causing the clouds to take that shape. But it's from it. They end at each of these islands, so that's how you can see where the islands are. See that? I wonder if it's part of Space Force. Look at that. See, it's all crossed and crazy. Anyway, there was an earthquake, 7.3, by this Western Peninsula, right down here, South Shetland Islands, yesterday. And we've had a bunch of aftershocks. I'll show you that. Uh-oh, look at this. This just came in. 5.2, St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands. That just came in at 3:21. 111 kilometers deep. Anyway, right down here, 7.3. And see, it's been... Here are the aftershocks. That 7.3 has come off the map. They downgraded it to a 6.9. There are 8 right here in the last 24 hours. The biggest one was a 5.5. But I've got earthquake pictures too. Anyway, we'll look at that in a minute. But you can see all this plate movement. Lots of movement. Magma's rising. So back to our exploring here. So here's the Pine Island Glacier. Now that's under a bunch of clouds today. But yesterday, was it yesterday or day before? Had a really good view. This is a pretty good view. Where was it? Here's a good view on the 20th. Here's the 19th. This is the best view. No clouds. Now you can see where this calved off last year. And there's a hole there where it's melted. Now this all refroze. This was open water last year, and this all refroze, and see these pieces that are just melting off. This is the area that I said I was surprised that it had not melted yet. And then here's the Thwaites Glacier. This is the Doomsday Glacier, and here's where it broke off. This is what's left of the ice tongue. It went all the way down. Here's the bottom end of that ice tongue, and see how it's broken up into all those pieces. Now the water had refrozen in between all of this. Now it's melted, and this is in the process of melting and moving out. I don't know how far it'll get before the sun goes down, but this is what the texture of the ice looks like. There, those are not clouds. That's what the ice looks like on the glacier. I wanted to show, oh, look over here. See, this is melting. So this will probably melt apart, but see, this time last year that was open. See, This was this time, January 19th, and it was calving off. See, it hadn't calved off yet. See, all that ice was still in there, but it calved off. See the line? It broke off last year. I covered all of that. That was last year. That's where we were. Here we are this year. See, that's where it broke off. Here's the Ross Sea. See, it's wide open. Ships could just go in and out right there. Here's the Ross Ice Shelf. Here's the Ross Island. This is Mount Erebus, a big volcano that keeps puffing away. This is I think that's a shadow. We're seeing a lot of melt up here. You can see the melt, this ice up along the land. See, it's rocky right up there. And we're seeing snow. The snow is melting too, but the ice, you see the blue, it's melting and starting to flow out. See along up here, this is the ice sheet, but now look here, see all that blue? That's melted, looks like. And you'll see melt ponds where the water has melted on top of the ice and it doesn't have anywhere to go. And you can see the flow, the direction there. Here's another area. I just started looking at these this week. Let's see. That's melting. This is in the whole area. It's melting so fast. Look at this. Look at this. See? There's the South Pole. So, not far from the South Pole that all of that is. What's this? Just want to take a peek at this. So that's an area in the snow that's melting. See? Look at, here's the ice around the coastline. Yeah. This is the Totten Glacier. This is no clouds. This is a really good view today. See how it's melted right up, almost right up to the ice shelf. There's a crack going up right here too. See if you can see that. Here's the Amory ice sheet. Now we got a bunch of clouds today. Let's go back. Here's the 22nd. This is cloud free. Here's where the ice has melted away from the coastline or the ice sheet there. See? And see, this has cracked, and that's going to start pulling away too. Right there. You can see the coastline, see the rocky area there. And you can see the blue. This is where it's melting. You can see the flow coming down. Slow. I mean, it's slow moving, but it's not the solid white anymore. This is from the melting. See? These areas are melting. There's that. Now up here, this is the brunt ice sheet. It was a couple of days ago. Here's yesterday, here's today. This is a good view. See, it's melted around. Here it is, there. Now there's a new crack that they found. I meant to get the picture. It's right up here. This is a new crack that they found this year, moving out. So it's quite cracked up. So I'm surprised that it hasn't started really breaking off yet. It will. It's just a matter of time. See, we've got cracks moving crossways along there. See, this wide open, where the ice that had been frozen here has already melted out. And so this is the Weddell Sea. This is a dynamic area. It's the biggest part that's still got ice. And then here's the Western Peninsula. This is the Larsen Sea ice shelf. Here's where the A68 iceberg had broken off. You can, right here, well, can't really say, it's right along here, it's in here. Now it refroze up here, but where it refroze, it's not part of the ice shelf, but it broke off right here. Here's what's left of the Larsen B ice shelf right here. Here's where this disintegrated and it kind of refroze. The Larsen A is up here. That's gone. And lots of weird clouds down here. So there's that. This is getting to be a long show anyway. Now we'll zip through Climate Reanalyzer. This is 2-meter temperature anomaly for today. We can see it's red up here in northern Canada and brown moving up into Greenland and over the Baffin Bay and over the archipelago and from Alaska up over the Arctic there. Now the Arctic has the temperature has come way down over the Arctic. It's only up 1.1 C higher than normal, but it's still 1.1 C higher than normal. The Antarctic is up 2.2 C higher than normal. The Northern Hemisphere is up 0.7 C, and the worldwide we're up 0.4 C higher than normal. So this is what's going on here in the Antarctic. See the browns? The sun's up. Sun's up and they're in high melt there. And the ozone is not very thick either. Here's precipitation and clouds for today. We can see it snowing up here, coming up from the North Atlantic up into the Arctic, and also over Alaska and up into the Chukchi Sea there. Rain moving in to Canada and the Northwest Pacific. There's a weird looking rain cloud coming over the Atlantic. Look at that. It's headed. It looks weird. And here's another big cloud. Rain. Lots of rain. We can see there's rain coming almost all the way down to the Antarctic here. See the green? And here by the Western Peninsula too. Here's the jet stream. Look at this. This is a high pressure system set up. That's where the red is. Red was. Now this is not a stream. It's just chunks of air that are moving around, causing weather chaos, and it's only going to get worse. We saw sea ice and snow cover. Here's sea surface temperature anomaly. They've updated it to Friday. We can see it's still lots of browns up here in the Barents Sea, sorry, and up by Svalbard, browns and reds. And look around Greenland, reds here. And this North Atlantic up by the US and Canada, it looks worse. This is in this light pink mode. That's up to 6 C higher than normal sea surface temperature. So I don't know why it's always like that there. I don't know what's going on. Here's the red blob in the South Pacific. And here's the Pacific, the West Pacific. We've got red around Japan, and then brown down here, southwest, and around Australia. So the North Atlantic is up 0.6 C higher than normal. That's the highest. There's that. Now we'll look at earthquakes. I took these pictures this morning. There were 213 worldwide, which is not a huge number, but considering what's going on, it's showing a lack of earthquakes where we normally see earthquakes, and then we've got some really large earthquakes. We can see these big dots, lots of fives. See, these are fives down around New Zealand here in Indonesia, from the Antarctic where that 7.0 came in, and then here was a 4, and here's a 5 something here south of Africa. Here's a 5 something down here in South America, and see all this. Now here, see all these earthquakes here. These are 4s, and then that 5. Here's a 4 size, and on Kamchatka had a big one too. In the lower 48, we're seeing 122 today. Now, notice no activity from the geysers basically in Northern California northward. So nothing in the Northwest Pacific, Seattle, Oregon, or in the Yellowstone region, which is, you know, normally we see something up there. Nothing today. So that's kind of unusual. Here in Southern California, we've got 30 today. Searles Valley Ridgecrest area is showing 13. And see, it's really spread out. It's not in the line like it used to be. From western Nevada, Tonopah over to Mammoth Lakes, we've got 36. The largest one is this 3.1 at Mena, Nevada. Here in Northern California, from the geysers up, and then just 1 north of the geysers, we've got 35, which is kind of a high number for the geysers, but they weren't very big. They were mainly 1s and under. Texas and Oklahoma, we've got 2 in West Texas, 2.5 and a 2.8 here in West Texas, and then there were only 3 in Oklahoma. And these are from all the fracking and oil, and there's tons of methane coming up now from West Texas, from all the oil. And from this whole area, it's awful. It didn't used to be that way, but I've noticed since I've been tracking this, it's really looking awful. Puerto Rico is only showing 7 earthquakes today, so that's a low number. We've got 1 on the Cocos Plate in the Eastern Pacific, 4.5. off the coast of Mexico. Here in South America, we've got 6, with the largest one being this 5.8 down here in Argentina, Chile and Argentina. Now we saw the big sulfur dioxide thing coming up here by Ecuador today, so I expect to see an earthquake in this area. I don't think it's this one from Colombia. I think there's going to be a new one pop up and right around in here. I don't know. Here in the South Atlantic Ocean, we've got 11, including the ones down here by the Antarctic. But we've got this 5.1 southwest of Africa, right on the red line, and a 4.9. I think that what? Yeah, 4.9 South Sandwich Islands. Now here's a close-up of, here's the western peninsula, the tippy point for the Antarctic. So these are the South Shetland Islands around there. This is where the large earthquakes have been happening. 6.9. that was a 7.3 and it got downgraded. This came in yesterday at 3:36 p.m. and this picture is showing 9 earthquakes, so all in the same area where this came in. So a lot of aftershocks. And then here's a close-up of the South Atlantic with that 5.1 southwest of Africa and 4.9 South Sandwich Islands. Now the islands are right over here, right next to the red line, so that was the reporting station for this one. Hawaii showing 20 today, with most of the activity down here at Pahala. We've got some up here on the flank of Mauna Loa, and then notice how the activity is spread out in the ocean all around the island there. Alaska's showing 34 today. That's a low number. Normally we see 50 to 100, and they're not very big there. So that's showing pressures building. Here's this 4.4 on Kamchatka near Atlasovo, Russia. New Zealand, there were 2 here. This is the big one is this 5.5 in the Auckland Islands, just south of New Zealand, and then there was a 4.2 in between the North Island and the South Island near Takaka. Then in the Fiji area, we're showing 5 earthquakes here, and some of them were pretty deep. For instance, here's a 4.6. It was 508 kilometers deep. 5.2 was 326 kilometers deep. Here in Indonesia and the Philippines, we're showing 4. We've got 2 of them that were in the 5s range of 5.2 in Philippines, Pier, and 5.1 near Bengkulu, Indonesia, right over here off the coast of Sumatra. Then there was a 4.3 at Ashkasham, Afghanistan, right here on the eastern border. That's all of those pictures. So you definitely see plate movement, plate movement, plate movement. So things are happening. This I expect a lot more large earthquakes to start happening. So here we are on the USGS website. Now we're showing 233. How many are we showing down here? Here's South Shetland Islands. We've got 7 here now. The last 24 hours. So here's South America. So these are new, these 2 here. We're looking for something up here in the Ecuador region. Now here's this big one that just came in, 5.4. We don't see big earthquakes here very often. East of Cruz Bay, U.S. Virgin Islands. So it's in the ocean, 94 kilometers deep. Probably didn't do any damage, but it's showing movement. So there's that. That just came in. Okay, now We've got some activity up here in the Yellowstone area. We've got 2.5 at Stanley, Idaho, and a 1.5 at Condon, Montana. There's that. Here's a new one in Northern California, just south of Mount Shasta Lake, southeast of Shasta Lake, 1.6 at Millville. See, not much along the San Andreas fault line. Some days this is just filled up. This has been filled up day after day. So that's a little lower. Here's a new one in the New Madrid area. 2.4 at Littleborn. That came in at 107 today. Look, only 1.8 kilometers deep. Not very deep at all. Got a new one here, a couple of new ones here on land at New Zealand, a 4.6 and a 5.2 right next to it near Rotorua. These came in after I took the pictures. 10:57 and 11:12 this morning Pacific time. So the 5.2 and the 4.6, those could have caused damage, just depending on what was around there in the infrastructure. Here's that one in between the two islands. Here's the one near the Auckland Islands. They're right here. See, now it's movements. We got more picking up here in Papua New Guinea and so on. These are new today. Here in the Kuril Islands at 4.2 and one off the coast of Hokkaido, 4.8. So that's new. This one, Tajikistan, 5.2. That's new. This one is new down here in Africa, 4.4 near Bujumbura, Burundi, next to Tanzania. This one's new. Here, in the Aleutian Islands, 5.1 King Cove. This came in at 1:16 this afternoon. So see, they're coming in. There was a little lull while all of this activity was going on. Now it's shaking things loose. That's what I had for the show today. I'd like to finish up by continuing reading out of the book of Psalms. I'm almost done. There were 150 chapters in Psalms. I think it's the longest book of the Bible. Psalms chapter 142. My shield of David, a prayer when he was in the cave. I cried unto the Lord with my voice unto the Lord did I make my supplication. I poured out my complaint before him. I shewed before him my trouble. When my spirit was overwhelmed within me, then thou knewest my path. In the way wherein I walked, have they privily laid a snare for me. I looked on my right hand, and behold, there was no man that would know me. Refuge failed me, no man cared for my soul. I cried unto thee, O Lord. I said, Thou art my refuge, and my portion in the land of the living. Attend unto my cry, for I am brought very low. Deliver me from my persecutors, for they are stronger than I. Bring my soul out of prison, that I may praise thy name. The righteous shall compass me about, for thou shalt deal bountifully with me. Psalms chapter 142. I'm finding comfort in these Psalms, and just a lot of comfort, and finding my prayers to be ones of, God, please purge me of anything that's unpleasing. Get me ready to be part of the kingdom of heaven. Get me ready for Jesus' return. Whatever I need to do, bring it to my attention. Work in me, in my body, and in my life to prepare me for whatever is to come. And let your will be done. So that's been my big prayer, and I'm also praying for all of the lost and all of the unsaved, that if you haven't come to Jesus yet, that He puts it on your heart, and that you make that step, make that leap, open the door, and let Him in. I think you'll be amazed. So I'm praying for everyone. Until next time, I love you all. Hope you have a good week. God bless you. Go in peace, and I will talk to you soon. Goodbye.